Now, I find that there's an important indicator that few leaders look at. How much pushback are you getting from the old guard? Those long-standing employees who want the world to stay exactly the way it was before you turned up. Welcome to Moments with Marty, your short, sharp shot of leadership insight to help you stay on track between our weekly episodes of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast. Most senior leaders find themselves in a position where they need to establish and execute a change or transformation program. It's almost expected that when you take on a new role that you bring change, and we all like to stamp our mark on a new role. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, isn't it? Consultants running around everywhere, telling you what needs to be done, people drowning in PowerPoint decks that explain the change, and a whole bunch of traffic light reports to convince you that what you're doing is actually working. Now, I find that there's an important indicator that few leaders look at. How much pushback are you getting from the old guard? Those long-standing employees who want the world to stay exactly the way it was before you turned up. There are a few different types of transformation that senior leaders attempt to execute. Now, of course, there is strategic transformation. Now, this term covers a lot of ground, and often there's very little about it that's actually strategic. Sometimes it can signal a change in direction for the company, sure. A different focus where you try to do things in a fundamentally different way. So this can involve bringing new products to market or expanding into new customer segments. These type of transformations often arise as a reaction to competitive or industry forces. People like to say they're pivoting. Then there are simple restructures, which are often mislabeled as strategic transformation. Restructures are expensive and highly disruptive, and unless layers of people are being removed, and you manage to do this without killing essential work, they rarely yield benefits. Then there are commercial transformations. And this is probably how I describe the work that I did as Chief Executive of CS Energy. Commercial transformations seek to increase the long-term value that's created for the company, and they often involved a shift in focus. For example, from an engineering focus to commercial excellence. The basic toolkit of commercial transformations includes things like capital efficiency, supply chain and procurement overhauls, inventory rationalisation, workforce productivity. Then there's my favourite, cultural transformation. Man, the number of leaders who've said to me after a very short stint in a senior role, I transformed the culture and my job was done, so I moved on. That's almost never true. Rather than changing the culture, it's much more likely that the culture chewed them up and spat them out. Culture change is the catch cry of every board and CEO from New York to Geneva to Auckland. It's the trickiest type of transformation to execute, and it's the hardest to measure. Now, many leaders believe their own bullshit when they talk about how they transformed a business, but the truth is often very different. I'm always skeptical when a leader tells me that they changed a culture, unless, of course, they can talk in detail about the hard work they had to do and can show me the deep scars that only come from this type of leadership work. The best indicator I ever came upon for measuring the change was, how much pushback am I getting? If everything's quiet and everyone's nodding and smiling, telling me that everything's going swimmingly, well, it's probably not true. If things are genuinely changing, then the resistance to that change will be palpable. People generally don't handle change very well. And when they're looking down the barrel of major change, you should expect a heap of resistance. The change I led at CS Energy generated a hell of a lot of noise in the parts of the business that needed to change the most. So I worked out that if people were entirely comfortable with what we were asking them to do, then very little was being done that was different from what they'd been doing for the years before I turned up. If you want to take a deeper dive into what it means to drive real change, have a listen to episode 66 of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast. No noise equals no change. We'll leave a link in the show notes. I really hope you enjoyed this moment and that it gives you an extra little spark to be a no bullshit leader.